Could this massive thunderstorm we are experiencing in Texas right now be the byproduct of some effed up experiment going out somewhere on the planet right now? There's just some massive, terrestrial experiment could they be doing? Like in the movie Core, where they had that giant spark plug and they were trying to tap into the Earth's energies and inadvertently started changing the Earth atmosphere, started changing the way the weather, the environment, everything was working. Oh my! Everyone thinks that movie is a joke. Everyone, but we have something very. It's called HARP. HARP does that same exact thing and manipulates the magnetic field around our planet. Just think about that. That's exactly how you can go to the Discovery Channel and you can watch the Discovery Channel episode about them explaining HARP. Okay, I'm not making this up. You can watch it. They explain how HARP works. They go into the whole degree of everything. It's just the one thing they leave out is if you haven't read the patents, you don't know specifically how it works. But what they're showing you in the Discovery Channel episode is that the beam or the experiment that they show that creates the weather, right? It goes in a horizontal fashion upwards, right? So it goes into a upward horizontal fashion. That's not how it works, right? That's not how HARP works. HARP specifically works in a vertical horizontal direction, So when you fire this magnetic beam, this energy, it has to travel at an angle into the atmosphere. That's why HARP is specifically located in Alaska as a strategic area, because it gives it the angular planetary access in order to use HARP as a weapon if need to be. We know that they do this. The Chinese are known to be developing weather modification devices. This storm could be a product of their cloud seeding, their space seeding, because we know they have satellites that do this. They have satellites that seed the weather on the planet, so who knows? You could weaponize those kind of satellites by, just permanently seeding an area, causing massive thunderstorms, trying to make massive tornadoes, just trying to cause just massive damage through weather weaponry, weather warfare, weather technology. How can you defend yourself? That's why you need space-based defense weapon laser systems right there, so you can just blast those satellites with a beam of it. Boom! Unbelievable. Can you imagine just witnessing all this stuff in space or anything? But all those people out there who say, space isn't real, just think about how boring their imagination is. Just think about how boring their life is. Okay. So it's like, if they don't imagine there is space or anything out there, so what? It's nothingness. So isn't it better to believe that there is space, there is all these space technologies, there is all these things? I mean, just think about all the people in the past who weren't really involved in conspiracies, who have let so much slip. There's so much papers out there you can read. There's so many quotes out there. There's so much research. There's so many people who have documented so much stuff. But yet somehow space isn't real. I don't get that. Space is real, but they're just lying to us, our access into space. They're lying to us about how advanced we really are into space. They're lying about everything. Just look at all the billions of dollars that have been fleeced away. You're telling me they haven't already built some kind of Elysium up there in space already? I mean, unbelievable. The breakaway civilization is real. You better believe we're headed towards and down that path. I just said zero. I just said the 2050, what does Elon Musk say? Elon Musk has been in the high corporate boards where they say humanity will be obsolete by 2050. Remember Alex Jones and all those people that were saying all that, and then that paper came out that said all the Chinese military were advancing heavily, the Belt and Road Initiative. That's all just a ploy to inadvertently invade everyone over there. Just imagine that whole continent, right? China wants control of that whole entire landmass. So you can just imagine that whole outline barrier where you exclude Russia, of course, because Russia ain't playing that game. They're in on it because, they want to be funneled the money. I mean, this all goes back to World War II. Just think about how much they lost in World War II, the Russians, right? They didn't get any technology whatsoever. All they lost were bodies and blood and sacrifice and all that. And all the collapse and everything, all because they lied to them. Think about it. Our government lied to the Russians when they were supposedly our allies, right? They're violating some sacred honor, because before then, you know, people could trust into allies and stuff. Most people don't talk about that. After that moment when we lied about going to Berlin and we went to go get the technologies instead, that was one moment when we betrayed our allies in American history. Unbelievable. And then everyone wants to know the byproduct of all that, which was what, you know, Ronald Reagan was trying to fix. It just looks like a guise that he was trying to save everyone, you know, and like his presidency was great, but he was actually just trying to correct a big globalist mistake, because all those people realized that they messed up heavily. So, you know, you can't exactly have that prolonged in history, because, you know, people like me come along and they would point that out, that, hey, you know, you guys kind of betrayed your allies over here. That's not a good thing. So what did we get in return for betraying our allies? Most people haven't talked about that. Most people ignore that. Most people ignore all the basic questions that should be answered. This is how you know our life is a lie, an illusion designed to be kept into a constant, you know, we're not smart enough. Just like I like how they put Snowpiercer back on Netflix. If you really want to understand our reality, our society, and everything, Snowpiercer is a masterpiece of a film.